Everybody, welcome to another episode of Saved by the BEL-AIR After Show. I'm your host, Dave Murphy. Joining me as always are my co-hosts, Jossie Clemens. How you doing, Jossie?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Great, great. And Leon Nolan. Hello, Leon.
Yes, sir. What's going on? Live from the 305.
Oh, yeah. All
Yes,
right, we got
sir.
the DMV, the ATL, and the 305.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Well, we're talking about episode 5 tonight. Let's get right into it. I'm going to hit some points and we'll just have some discussion. So, Will and Carlton are both second guessing their college decisions. Will's getting some cold feet because he met the coach over at Stapleton University, and the coach seems more interested in getting championships than Will getting his education. And Carlton feels he's going to be in an uphill battle to prove himself, just like he did at BEL-AIR Academy over at Princeton University. What do y'all think about kind of their second guessing themselves, guys?
I would say I don't know if I expected it. I don't know why I didn't think that Carlton may have second thoughts about Princeton or they was gonna write that storyline in. So it's interesting how they paralleled it though with like you said. I think Carlton did make a good point after that where he's like, okay, now he's back in a majority white space,
Mm-hmm.
prestigious school. Everyone's gonna be looking at him to fail. He's gonna have to work twice as hard just to be taken serious. So I get
Yeah.
the frustration of like, damn, do I really want to go through this? So he could go to an HBCU and turn up and have a good time,
Mm-hmm.
but it's that Princeton pressure that
Yeah.
really gets to him. So I feel that, and then I think I related to a little less just because it's like I get he has bigger plans.
Sure.
But if you're on a basketball scholarship, you're there to play basketball, like they say. So it's like I do like understand his struggle though, in the sense of like, okay, now he's really thinking, is this really what I want?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Phil's been kind of flip floppy with basketball for the past couple of seasons, so I'm curious to see how they're gonna resolve it. But
Yeah. It is interesting, kind of, because yeah, it's like you're going to the school to be a basketball player first and
yeah,
a student second, right? So you have less
facts.
compassion for Will. Okay. What about you? What do you think, Leon?
I mean, I think Jossie, I think he summarized a lot of the points really well. I mean, before I even, talk about it more, I don't know if you guys noticed, but how they explained the time skip, when they were in that program, at the very
Yeah.
beginning, they were kind of like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
we now that we're
yeah, they
over with
finished
such
it
and
Of
out.
such
course,
program.
everything's moving a mile a minute on
Yeah.
that show.
Yeah, yeah. So,
No,
that was
Nolan
something.
gonna notice them little time.
Oh
Any
man,
time
hey man,
discrepancy, yo, he
I'm
gonna
telling
pick it up.
you. Well, I mean, well, that was just to,
As he
set a
should.
reminder to me that they're moving this season like based on what I predicted. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I haven't seen the last two episodes, but it's looking like that graduation, Vivian having the baby,
Hmm.
all that's kind of coming to a head last
Sure.
episode or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, back on topic. Um, again, I'm just gonna say it's drama for drama's sake at this point. I mean, I agree with Josh, especially about Will. When you get that sports scholarship, like that's what
Yeah.
you're there for. You're getting free education, but it's like you got to make the education work around what we're
Yeah,
giving you this money for. So I'm not saying that he couldn't do it, but like I mean, I respect the coach for being real with him and telling him like, yo, I'm trying to win. Like that's why I'm bringing you here. I'm not trying to
yeah,
sugarcoat it and tell you like, man, you can network with alumni and this, that, and next. He's like, nah, dude, we're trying to win here. So but I mean as far as Carlton, like I felt like I said, I feel like that was just way too fabricated. Like we've been literally building up to this moment for all these seasons. Like I feel like back in season one was the first time Princeton was even mentioned by Carlton. So from the very get go, from his onset as a character, and early on development when he had all the issues, there was that echo of Princeton then that just intensified as he, worked his way to his last year. So I hate to see. I mean, I understand it. There's a lot of good points that the guy that he talked to made, and for him to start second guessing his decision. But I mean, I also feel like you don't look at a school like Princeton and not know what you getting yourself into. You don't
Yeah,
need
what you gonna yourself
somebody
into?
there to tell you, like, you know how hard it is to get in there. You know what's the requirement, what's the pedigree, what's the opportunities once you get that degree from there. So I just kind of felt like, again, it was just something written in just to create some controversy that didn't need to be there. I feel like this could have been left out the whole story, and the episode would have played out more. I mean, of course, it'd have been more on Will's, like trying to figure out like what you gonna do if you're unsure about that. But the whole, like I said, just going back to it, I'm not really feeling the doubt that Carlton is experiencing with Princeton at this point.
Yeah, it does seem like they have a bevy of riches, right? Like it's everything they want is falling into place, and now they're having second guesses when it's like you should have realized this well ahead of time that what this is all about.
Yeah,
You're showing a
that's
level
fair.
of naivete that isn't realistic with regard to your characters if you had been really been this determined to get into college. And I find it funny, kind of both their explanations are very, in a way, short-sighted because, especially Will, because he's always like, I need to go and get a business degree. I'm like, dude, you can get a business degree whenever, right? Like you're 18, go to school, get this basketball scholarship, get a degree, and then get your MBA later, man. It like God forbid you start, working on your business a little bit later and then think about like, okay, where could a basketball scholarship lead to if you then get into the MBA and think of the money you could make, which you can then invest in whatever business you want. You could be
Yeah,
Magic Johnson and open up a line of theaters. You could be LeBron James and whatever he does. I'm sure he has his own businesses. So it's like it's very short-sighted on Will's end to just be like, I need to get a business degree right now, right this second, and get into business right when I graduate from college. And again, with Carlton, sort of like, I don't want to be put under stress going to Princeton, not thinking about, well, what can you do with a Princeton degree after you graduate versus what can you do with another degree from perhaps a lesser school, right? So both their kind of logic seems short-sighted, but I also think about it coming from a kid's perspective. And when I was
yeah,
joining the military, the idea that I was going to go spend 4 years at a military institution, like I thought I was giving up my life. My life was going to be over
Mhm.
after 4 years. I didn't think about everything beyond that. And then, of course, I stayed in the military until I retired, and that was a great decision. But again, you can't see that. You don't have that perspective when you're that young. So I think
yeah,
they reflected that well in that respect, in terms of my impression from the writing. So
yeah. No, I think those are good points. I didn't even think about. Yeah, like they could do a lot just looking into the future, especially Will. Like you said, he could definitely go back and get his master's if it really comes down to that. Well,
yeah, or get a dual, go get a business degree somewhere else. I mean, or just start a business. Anyways, so the boys are having their
yeah,
worries, and going to college is something that, is a foregone conclusion for both of them. And so Phil and Viv are now worried about the boys and having life skills, right? Can they do laundry, right? Can they cook for themselves or clean themselves or fix up a car? So Phil wants them to fix up this old car he's had since forever, which, by the way, I'm surprised like he had this car the whole time and, none of the kids ever knew about it. And then Viv
yeah.
wants
Like, did they
them to
just
do
never
the
look in the
laundry.
garage?
Yeah, it was just in the garage, right? And so the boys don't take their task seriously to fix up the car, and Phil gets all pissy about it, and then Viv just teaches them to do laundry. What are your thoughts on that aspect of the story, and getting them ready for the life skills?
I thought it was corny. I was just gonna jump off the porch and say it was like it was. I mean, the life skills lessons. I don't see an issue with that. Just to your point, how you said they open up this garage, this old car sitting there, and then like just the unrealistic, like the car doesn't run, doesn't do anything. It feels like we're gonna get this fixed in a day. I'm like, dude, mechanics don't even do that kind of work in a day. You about to get two guys that you clearly don't have a shop. Like, yeah, like again, my mind is just thinking like, realistically on stuff. And I'm just like, they could have done something that was like cut the grass, like gardening, something that's a little bit more down to earth, realistic, still getting your hands dirty type deal. Or I mean, even just like something simple, like we need to change the engine, I mean the oil and the tires. You know what I'm saying? Like something very grounded, but restoring a whole antique car, like
Yeah,
no way, like no way. So I mean, like I said, the lesson made sense. The execution of it just was not. It didn't hit the mark for me. So, and then Phil getting mad because the mirror fell off. Like, dude, the whole car's broke down. What are we getting mad about here? so so yeah, it was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, dude, we need some filler in this episode, I guess. So let's just draw this out for whatever it is. So that's how I
yeah.
felt.
See, I feel like I do feel like yeah, like some of the drama, like as I'm looking back, it's like some of the stuff like I keep saying is just going through the motions, like, oh, they need to do life lessons. Oh, it's happening. Oh, they learn a lesson. It's not too much in the show that I'm like sitting up on my seat, like, okay, this has got my attention. I think sometimes it is, with the Jeffrey stuff and like with the end and stuff like that. I think that is more what's grabbing my attention. But yeah, I wonder because they were like, Will's no better. He didn't know how to do laundry. I always thought Will would be a little more self-sufficient just because he grew up, not in the richest neighborhood in Philly, and it's like it was just him and his mom. So like I'm sure his mom was working a lot. I'm thinking he got to do a lot of stuff around the house, So I didn't really totally buy when they were like, I understand Carlton's perspective because they probably had maids and service and like they probably just didn't think to really install super self-sufficient skills in him. But I see Will cook and stuff like that, so. I think they try to force it a little bit with the boys already. When I feel like they've shown in the past that Will is kind of, Will has been self sufficient for a while now. But
Yeah, I think it's something that, even in, I would say, poorer households or, you know, less higher class households, you could say, lower class, middle class, there can still be that element of not teaching the fundamentals. Like, for
Mhm.
instance, when I was working at a training base, right, we had, recruits or I would say airmen coming in to the base, straight out of boot camp. And this was their first time ever living away from home. And the feedback I got back from instructors and people who had to like take care of these airmen is that they didn't know nothing about life skills. The majority of them, the vast majority of them, and again, these aren't the highest of the high class folks, right? These are low to middle
Yeah,
class people who come from hard scrabble lives or normal lives, and they're joining the military, and they weren't given the fundamentals for whatever reason. It's something that I try to imbue in my kids is like, hey, you need to learn how to do the dishes. You need to do these things. You need to do chores and help around the house and those stuff. And then I think about, you know, like I could see situations where, especially from like my wife's perspective, she does the laundry, right? And she
hmm
wants to have the laundry be her domain, right? So to bring in other people to do that and not do it to her specifications would probably, drive her insane if, because
yeah,
like she doesn't even want me to touch the laundry. That's how much of a domain she controls. So, I could see that being something where, a parent doesn't, allow their kid to
yeah,
mess with
yeah,
that. And it could be something that even affected obviously not Phil, Will, back in Philly, right? Because, again, they're having to both learn these life lessons. But, I think what Nolan would say is it's drama for drama's sake. These kids should know it. It's contrived, right, Nolan? It's contrived.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. All right. So they break the mirror, and then they have to go to Jazz, or they somehow, I don't know how they get to Jazz. I forget what brought them to them, but I mean, we know that
Oh, the
Jazz is a car
mirror. They were trying to
aficionado,
get the mirror fixed.
but like, why did they go to Jazz? Why did they know Jazz could, or did Jazz suggest it? I forget how that
Well, I mean,
went
I
down
think
exactly.
Jazz, he already had the antique car that he kind of had already kind of fixed up himself. I remember
Yeah,
the
yeah,
origins of it from
Yeah, I
season
think Jazz is
one.
just a go-to antique car guy. So there's
right.
someone that can find a mirror like this. Jazz makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So they go to Jazz, and we also find out that Jazz's new girlfriend is married, and Jazz finds that out too. And
Mm.
it seems like, from Jazz's perspective, it's not really that big a deal. I don't know. He didn't seem that bothered by it. it seemed like she was more bothered by it because obviously she was the one who's committing adultery. And so she eventually goes to Viv and confesses. Um, are we all, I don't know. I mean, is there anything really to talk about with that?
Well, Jazz did he actually did make note of it. Like it did kind of bother him. He was like, I didn't know she was married. Like it did throw him off. Only thing I'll note about that situation though is like when she goes to Riv and explains her. I don't know really how I feel about Viv's response when she's like, "Oh, that's your business." I mean, as her friend, it's like, bro, you cheat on your husband. Like, let me get some accountability here. Like, that's not right.
Hmm.
Jazz is. I understand. I mean, Jazz is a grown man, so you don't have to go too much into like the age difference. But well, how old is Jazz a grown man? Actually, is he like 18 years old? Or maybe he's a little older. He's Hillary's age,
Jazz?
I guess. Yeah, I
I
guess
think
he's
Jazz
Hillary's
is
Yeah,
like
age.
in his
Jazz.
30s or something, or late 20s.
Yeah, he's got to be like at
Can't be.
least mid 20s or something like that. Because what's her Hillary? Hillary's in her early 20s,
Yeah,
and so yeah, I mean, them talking like I can't see
he
him being
probably right.
too
He's
much
probably like
older. Not
23 to
Yeah,
25, maybe. Okay.
and he's
Which is
had that
fine. Like
record
I said,
store. Yeah, he's been in that
yeah,
record
he's had
store
it for
pretty
a
much
while.
since the first season, if not the second season. And what that was sophomore year, junior
Yeah.
year. So yeah, I would definitely say he's no older than 24, 25.
Okay. Which, like I said, which is, if he wants to date older women, that's, it's no problem there. It's just, but yeah, I didn't know. I didn't really, I thought Viv should have been a little more like, okay, like not judgmental, but, let her know like that is, probably not the
I
best
mean,
route. You
Viv
should.
Viv the one that almost stepped out with Chef
Oh, that
Muscles.
was a whole thing. Oh, oh my God. Oh, I was even gonna talk about, but since we're on Viv, but I just don't build a relationship she's having with old girl. Like this girl tried to steal your husband blatantly. Like she had a master plan to get your husband to work with her so she could pull him away. And then she was manipulative about it. And now she at the house chilling. I'm like, I don't know. Some stuff you just can't. You don't gotta like hold a grudge, but you don't also gotta have Shorty in your house that was trying to smash your man like last year. Like, that's a little
Yeah,
crazy
they
to
they
me.
they paid these actors and actresses. They need to put them in.
Yeah, they got
Mira's
contracts,
gonna be at Princeton next year too, so just be ready for it. She's gonna
Yeah,
get into
they
Princeton.
paid
We just
everyone but Coco Banks, it seems. Another episode without her.
They can only
Yep.
get her for part-time, half-time. She got grieve.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know.
so we learned this episode that Jeffrey is done with Dominique, and now that the 50 million has been laundered, but Dominique wants to bring Jeffrey into the fold. She wants to go legit, and she wants Jeffrey to be by her side. And Jeffrey's like, "Nah, I ain't gonna do that." But then Dominique's like, "Oh yeah, you think the banks are gonna let you just roll back in there and be buddy buddy with them after you put him through all this?" Uh, so what do we think about Jeffrey and Dominique and this new dynamic that's being formed here? And then, Jeffrey, of course, goes to basically confirms it because he gets the, side eye from Viv and he's like, maybe I shouldn't be a part of this family. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
they
he,
don't
Uh,
he
want me.
definitely burned some bridges.
yeah.
Like 100. Like I think Phil said it at some point. Like or maybe Vivian expressed it that putting the family in danger when this was all coming up with the laundry and stuff. Like that's not something that you just shake hands and forgive and forget. Like
Hmm.
like we it's not just us as peers, same age group, friends, however long. Like you now messing with my kids at that point. So that's a different level at
Yeah.
that point. Like I know a lot of people though that I mean I don't have kids, but I know a lot of people I know as friends and family. Like they'll say all the time, like you do or say whatever to me, don't do it to my kids. So the fact that he endangered their home. Will did get kidnapped. Um, what are the other things? Trying to think. That's what comes to mind right now. But anyway, I mean, just
The
those
way
two
they like
things
crack,
right
yeah, they
there.
like torched the house. They got them arrested. Yeah, they done a lot
Yeah,
of stuff.
yeah. So I mean, it's you definitely encroaching on the well-being of my children. So nah, there's no coming back from that. Like we understand the situation that you're in, that your actions in the past got you in, and we kind of helped you out to shield you from that, protect you from that or whatever. But it wasn't on us if that past catches up to you for us to give be your safe way out. And that's basically what I feel like Jeffrey has done. I mean, they as before all this kind of really hit the fan, they even offered like we can give them money or whatever, and Jeffrey's like, no, I'll handle it. And like, see how you handled it, like spilled over on us. Like instead of us kind of like offering our help and services and money, and hopefully maybe making this go away completely. But yeah, there's consequence to that. So I don't see them coming back.
And
Do you
I guess
give
how do
Jeffrey
y'all?
any, I would say, latitude with the fact that he was in a sort of a ungood, he was in a pretty bad situation because basically they had his family, they were holding his family. So do you give him any sort of grace because of that?
Yes and no, because Jeffrey knew what he had to do. Like, if I remember that whole plot line early on, he didn't want to know where his son was to protect him, to keep him protected, if I recall correctly. And I think when he started like trying to find out, trying to reconnect or find out where they were at or whatever, like that's really like the smoking gun in all of this. Like that's what started the domino effect. Him and his son get back together, and he knows that these people are still trying to, hurt him in whatever way they can. And like now they know where your son is, who the mom is, and he was actually getting ready. If I recall, he was getting ready to leave the banks and run off with, his son and get back with his baby mom and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's not again, like, I feel like there's just too much from his actions that kind of put himself in the situation, and them being the friends that they were. Like I said, they offered to help in whatever way they can to pay off whatever debt, to or to like hide his family. I can't remember all of it because it was like I said last season or season before that. And he was like, nah, I got this. And like I said, like, you got this. You supposed to have this prior, and you see what this got. Like everything, all the fallout that happened. Like this is not the Jeffrey that we knew from the first couple of seasons. This is a completely different Jeffrey. I mean, still same kind of like edge on him, but it's like he's like on the outside looking in versus. Like you said,
Yeah.
he's not really a family member anymore. It's like, who are you at this point, dude? Like, we don't know what you're willing to do to make sure that you're okay and your family's okay. When we was trying to give you a way out. So yeah, I can't really answer your question there. I can't give them that grace. I can't.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way I see it, I don't know. I think they put that scene in there for a reason when they show that, Uncle Phil kind of, for lack of a better word, like owes his success to Jeffrey because Jeffrey is the one who gave him that first loan. And like, so I think there's always going to be that level of gratitude or slight, debt there. From this show's writing standpoint, I assume that it's going to be all wrapped up in the end, like they're going to forgive Jeffrey and so and so. From a realistic standpoint, that is probably the biggest thing that stuck out to me this episode. It's like, man, Uncle Phil is in deep. Like, I don't know what happens obviously next episodes, but it's like I'm like, this is no. I don't even know how I feel about Uncle Phil participating in this money laundering, and I try to kind of today's point look at it from Uncle Phil's perspective. He did say no a couple times. They broke into his house, but was that the only option to go? I don't know. It's just like, man, he's putting all these businesses that are local, like kind of incriminating them. We see at the end what happened with Jazz. That could get blown up. He's putting his family on the line, and they touched on it a little bit with Viv doing her research. And Jeffrey did get him in the situation, but it's like I don't know how I feel about Uncle Phil. Is kind. I'm looking at him a little different. Like he's like kind of like a criminal mastermind. Like the way they was moving the money and everything. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that direction because I'm like, it's only a couple episodes left. So where exactly are we going with this? But
Hey, $25 a month. That's all I'm gonna say. $25 a month. What does $25 a month get you? It gets you a Ring camera system that will notify the authorities when when your house gets broken into, and then the police handle it at that point.
Dang, yeah. Yeah, I don't
So
know, man.
yeah, it's like, oh my God, like y'all
But
got
how
me
do y'all
really
feel
started
about
thinking.
like banks? How y'all feel about Uncle Phil and what he's doing right now? Like, is it like no other options, or is
Not,
like,
not, I mean, like what you said, like him being some kind of kingpin at this point, thinking like one, like moving like one.
yeah,
It's like having the map of the city in front of him and
yeah,
placing the pieces around, like some Nino Brown stuff. Nah, man, like this is the wholesome Alpha Phi Alpha, almost DA, powerful law firm,
yeah,
kids in the private school, big mansion having dude or whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, in another reality, like I could see that happening, but this is not the guy that we've known that has got
yeah. That's the
since
thing.
we learned that he got Will out of jail. That's not that guy. So it doesn't really fit. Even out of desperation, it doesn't really fit. Like he's way
Yeah,
too
that's kind of how I
comfortable in
feel it.
this. Like you think
Yeah,
he had stumbled over even being a lawyer, right? And probably knowing cases and stuff and details of maybe things like this that have happened that have, gone to trial and either won or lost. Maybe not, through his clients or whatever, but lawyers, they do study up on court proceedings and past
yeah.
trials. Like it still doesn't fit. Like it's just all too readily available to him. Like it just we're gonna do this. We're gonna leave it all here in the neighborhood so it doesn't get out and seem too fit. Like it was just way too like, dude, what or is this like Inception? Like this whole time, Jeffrey was the smokescreen, and you really like the guy. Like, you know?
And, and you know what I'm wondering too, though. My question too is like, man, how do we come back from this? Like, even like Jazz, like I don't know how they're gonna rap in the show, but in real life, like I don't know if I could ever forgive somebody if like they using my shop to launder money. That's crazy. Like that's incriminating me and my family. And then it's like, what is the end goal for the show, or what is the best case scenario? Like Phil gets found out, and in court he goes, "I was forced," but out of the best
I
case
think
is like
Dave
here get
said it
exonerated.
last
But it's
time.
like,
They moving back
yeah.
to Philly. Everybody moving back to Philly. It's gonna
Yeah, I don't know.
be-
I'm just like, where is the show going with this storyline? Because like, what do they want to happen with Phil? Like, he is involved and he's an active participant. It's like either he gets off skate free and there's no accountability, or is it going to end with him going to jail? I don't know. I'm just curious how they're going to come back from this and like what the end goal is.
just know whatever comes out of this is going to be as smoothly planned out as Phil had his whole little laundry thing planned out. I guarantee whatever happens is going to be like, oh, I knew this. I had this planned out. They were playing checkers and I was playing chess. Like I guarantee that's how it's going to be. But I think Jeffrey's gonna like do the little valiant thing and like, no, it's my fault. I'm the one that caused all this, and then they're gonna get off scot free. If I was a bit
And
man,
maybe Jeffrey
that's the
goes to jail and
conclusion.
that's how it ends. Maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm curious, man. I'm curious. There's only three episodes left
yeah,
after
Pretty
three
this.
much,
episodes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
Mhm.
I think I can I can see a self-sacrifice by Jeffrey if he knows his family is safe, because that's all that really matters to him.
yeah,
I mean, he's such a like not empathetic, but he definitely feels bad when he makes the the banks do things, or
Yeah.
like he internalizes a lot. When he didn't attend Thanksgiving dinner, it's because he didn't feel like he was a part of the family anymore or welcome in the family.
Yeah.
And part of that was kind of confirmed by Viv, but I think at the heart, I think Will or Phil sees him as a family member and wants to protect him, but he's always going to look at his family first, his, given family, and protect them over anyone. But he doesn't want to see, his buddy, his longtime buddy, have any ill happen to him either. It's the reason why he took on, the money laundering scheme in the first place, because he went to bat for Jeffrey, who's done so much for him, and he wants to see, him be okay. But I think, yeah, if push came to shove, I fully believe Jeffrey would take the fall, or do something that would protect the banks if he can protect his family, if he can get
Yeah.
his family okay and the Banks family okay, but that means him going to jail or biting the bullet, or sacrificing himself or something like that. I think he'd be willing to do that, but um, he needs to look at his for there's two men who are trying to look out for their families, right? And it's not a good situation to be in, but it helps create that drama, that contrived drama we love so much, Nolan. But anyways, I'm interested to see where it goes. We know there's some stuff coming down because Pamela, when she confesses she's married, she also tells Viv, "Hey, guess what? Phil's under investigation. The law's looking at
Yeah.
him." And they plant some seeds there for what's going to happen to Phil and how this whole investigation could go and where it might end up. So I
Hmm.
think Phil is going to be under some fire here, and that's going to be something we're going to have to deal with as the episodes go on. And then of course the boys are just going to wrap it up here. The boys do get the mirror fixed by the help of Jazz, and they fix the mirror. And then Phil is like, "Oh, you guys, nice family moment." And we also learn about the car's history. It was something him and Phil's dad apparently worked on, and he never got around to it because he got busy with life. So it's kind of like a nice kind of hallmark moment, getting the vehicle fixed. And then, of course, Phil gives it to the kids as sort of his going away present,
Oh
potentially
yeah.
going away. Or their going away present, or their college
Yeah.
going away gift. It's all yours now,
Yeah, which is
kids.
interesting. Are they gonna split the car out? How is exactly this is gonna work?
I don't know.
I mean, I
I
could
They
have
were so
imagine.
sworn
excited too. I'm
Carlton
like,
had like
wait,
a
what exactly?
Jaguar or something. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, is this Will's car? Like,
Yeah, especially, well, I mean, depending on where Will goes to college, it could be kind of
yeah,
logistically difficult to, get back and forth. Or maybe
feel
it's
like
just
they're gonna end
something.
up. I feel like they're gonna end up at the same college. I feel now that I'm hearing
Really?
this. I feel like that's where this is pointing at. Because then they go to
Okay.
the same college in the original show.
yeah,
I
they did
think
end up going
so.
there.
I think, well, well, in the original show, we talked about this. So Carlton doesn't get into Princeton in the original show, instead goes to UCLA for 2 years or whatever for transferring, or some period before transferring to Princeton. So he
Mm.
eventually does go to Princeton, and then Will goes to UCLA. That's what I read.
Okay, so they both were. Oh
Okay.
yeah, 'cause I remember the frat episode when they were both trying to get in the fraternity, and Carlton was
Hmm.
struggling.
Of course, he struggles. All right, cool. Well, that's pretty much it for episode 5. Unless there's anything I'm forgetting, guys, you want to make sure we mention.
Nah, I
Let
think
me
that was
check
it.
the notes. I think the end. I mean, the end when they came and knocked down Jazz's door
Oh
was like,
yeah,
yo, this is getting kind of crazy. Like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. They finished this. I'm like, yo, they already caught this fast. Stores already flagged.
Well, it's like everything.
Uh,
Everything's going really fast, right? We're knocking through the rehabilitation. We're knocking through $50 million laundering. It's like the last season of Game of Thrones. Everything's going super duper fast.
Oh man,
So
when
and
they
then
were
I
like,
think Viv.
don't even do Game of Thrones. That is an excellent comparison. It used to take episodes to get from King's Landing to the North. Season 8, they were in like the second half of the episode. Like, yeah,
yep, yep.
yeah, you spot
Oh
on with
yeah.
that one.
They speed ran that last season, but
Mhm.
you can
Yeah,
tell the
I think
creators are putting
Viv's
out.
like seems like her water broke or something too, right at the end.
Oh
She
yeah,
had
yeah,
she
she
had an
did have that.
episode which they'll to talk about next episode. So
Okay,
not
yeah,
water breaking. No,
something
we're not there
happened.
yet,
Okay, gotcha.
thankfully. But yeah, it's definitely going fast. I think, given their druthers, I think the creators would have wanted to probably spread this out over 2 seasons. But it was probably like,
Yeah,
hey, listen, Bel Air is not doing the numbers we expected. You're gonna have to wrap this up in season 4. I feel like this was 2 seasons melded into one, because I mean, I imagine the
yeah,
creators want to
probably.
at least mirror the original Fresh Prince of Bel Air's 5 season run, right? Like
Yeah,
that would make sense to me.
yeah.
So that would probably, if they had been given that 5th season, you probably wouldn't have as many complaints, Nolan. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe you would
Oh
find
yeah, they
still
got.
something to complain about.
I'm telling Amira would have been working at the same job as them. They would have taken the family vacation to Martha's Vineyard again, and she'd have somehow showed up there. Like, oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they would have had a field day with that.
indeed. All right, guys. Well, that's been episode 5 of Bel Air. Tune in next week when we'll be talking about episode 6 and see what happens in that episode. All right, guys. Well, for Jossie and Leon, I'm Dave. This has been Saved by the Bell Air After Show, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody.